Good evening, and welcome to AJP's Closing Brief. On the eve of Samsung Electronics' second quarter earnings, Monday became a region-wide referendum on the memory trade, and by the close, no two markets had voted the same way. One number hangs over all of Northeast Asia tonight. The preliminary second quarter result Samsung Electronics reports Tuesday morning, with the market bar set around 85 trillion won in operating profit. Each market traded Monday in proportion to its exposure to that number. Korea, the epicenter, swung more than 400 points, reclaiming 8,300 in the morning, breaking below 7,900 by midday, and closing at around 8,050, down about 0.5%. Japan imported Seoul's volatility almost tick for tick. The Nikkei fell more than 800 points in the morning as Korean chips reversed, then recovered nearly all of it to close effectively flat near 69,738. And China simply traded around the whole drama. Shanghai finished slightly higher at around 4,051, running its own rotation into drug makers, coal, and refiners, while a new set of trading rules took effect. The KOSPI's modest 0.5% decline hides the real story, the widest split in the market's biggest names in weeks. Samsung Electronics rose nearly 3% to 318,000, won around $208 as investors positioned for a strong print Tuesday. But everything on the SK side of the memory trade went the other way. SK hynix fell more than 3% to around 2,343,000, won about $1,530, and its holding company, SK Square, dropped nearly 6%, unwinding ahead of Hynix's Nasdaq listing later this week. The flow data tells you who blinked. Foreign investors sold a net 1.3 trillion won, their 12th straight session of selling, and institutions dumped another 1.4 trillion, while individuals absorbed more than 2.6 trillion won of it. Away from chips, the rotation was broad and healthy. Advancers actually outnumbered decliners at the close. Autos led every sector board, with Kia up nearly 6% to 160,000. 700 won around $105, and refiners GS and S-Oil gained 7 and 6%. Shanghai was the region's insulated market. The composite added about 0.2% to around 4,051, and the leadership had nothing to do with memory chips. Money rotated into last week's winners. Healthcare drew the largest sector inflows of the day, led by Hungary medicine, which jumped nearly 5% to around 57 yuan as the innovative drug rally extended. The defensives followed coal major. China Shenhua rose about 3% to around 42 yuan, and refiner Sinopec added about 3% to around 4.8 yuan, an almost exact echo of the refinery trade running in Seoul. Monday also marked a structural change for the market itself. New exchange rules took effect, widening the daily price limit on mainboard ST stocks from 5 to 10% and extending after-hours fixed-price trading to all A-shares and exchange-traded funds, a step regulators frame as pushing the market away from speculative shell trading and toward fundamentals. Tokyo delivered the day's most dramatic recovery. The Nikkei fell as much as 824 points in the morning, dragged by Tokyo dealers' own account by the reversal in Korean chip stocks, then clawed back essentially the entire loss to close at 69,738, down just 6 points. The intraday whipsaw was concentrated in a handful of artificial intelligence heavyweights, and the clearest single expression of it was Advantest, down roughly 9% at mid-afternoon. The chip tester closed up nearly 1% at around 29,565 yen. Memory names fared worse. Kioxia fell 2% to around 81,590 yen ahead of the Samsung print that will set the tone for memory pricing. And Tokyo Electron slipped about 1% to around 72,320 yen. The telling detail: While the Nikkei churned, the broader topics touched a record high in the morning session. Japan's sell-off is narrow, not systemic. It runs exactly as deep as the index's chip weighting. Strip away the noise, and Monday was positioning, not conviction. Individuals bought Korea, while foreigners sold a 12th straight day. Japan's broad market sits at a record while its chip heavyweights churn. China is quietly building a rally out of everything except technology. All of it now waits on one number. If Samsung clears the 8.5 trillion one bar Tuesday morning, the memory trade gets its answer. If it doesn't, 12 days of foreign selling may only be the start, and that question stays open tonight. We'll have Samsung's preliminary numbers and the full market reaction in tomorrow's closing brief. If you find these briefings useful, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss it. Thank you for watching AJP.